Live from Jefferson City, it's the This Week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update with Scott Faughn.
Welcome into This Week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update. I am joined by a very special guest, one of the true historians of the state of Missouri, Representative Louis Riggs. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you, Scott, for having me on.
Now, would you say you hail from Hannibal, Rawls County, where at?
Hannibal, yes. Spent most of my formative years in Rawls County, so part of that's Village of Rawls, which, 150, 200 folks. So I got Hannibal City Hall politics, and I got Rawls County Courthouse politics. It was the best of all possible worlds.
Rawls County, one of the few counties that have a split county seat, right? Got a courthouse in Hannibal, got a courthouse in Palmyra.
That would be Marion. Rawls has been there since 1857.
Rawls owns that, gotcha. All right, let's talk. You're in town today for a committee hearing. What committee, and what did you all talk about?
We're doing an interim committee on workforce development. Basically, it's innovation and technology. So we're looking at basic ways to improve the workforce. We future-proof this thing for the next 10 to 15 years. We take into consideration all that artificial intelligence is going to do to us and for us, and try to generate a report based on what we found here, basically the last 2 years of taking testimony from subject matter experts. Refer to this as the capstone. So we'll basically take more testimony, take our blood pressure, where we're at, where things are. I'm going to have the departments back November 14th. Today, give them plenty of time to answer that. We'll discuss what we find out. We'll write a report, 5 or 6 recommendations with a really hefty fiscal note, and we'll see where we go from there.
Interesting. So who all's on the committee?
Me, Willard Haley, Tara Peters, Ken Waller, Michael Johnson, and ranking members Bridget Walshmore.
Did you have Dell Taylor on there too?
We do.
I like Dell.
Yep.
Dell's a high energy guy. I like being around him.
Dell's a really smart guy.
Yeah.
He's very thoughtful. Everybody enjoys talking to Dell because you learn something from him.
And that Tara Peters, she's got what it takes to be a star in politics. She's relatable, works hard. There's a charisma she has that's like not, charisma and phony are cousins, right? You can almost have enough charisma, you come off a little insincere. She's got some charisma, but it's certainly very genuine,
Oh, yeah. And she's a lot of fun. She spent part of her career on camera, so she understands how to project basically what she wants to say in a very professional manner, and is to deal with her, she's just fun.
I'm sure other governors and other political leaders talked about workforce development in Missouri before Mike Parson. He's really the one that's he's taken the buzzword or the term or whatever to another level. And it's nice to see the state kind of following. Because, let's be honest. If you talk to an employer, they really don't talk about state tax cuts. Sure, I'd love to pay less and all that. They talk about give me good employees. They need child care. And when they say give me good employees, they need folks that have developed their work skills. They need people that are ready to go to work. And I don't think Missouri's alone. I think every state could create more jobs if you had the skilled people ready to do them.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would say Governor Parson put his money where his mouth was, and he made that a high priority, which it should be.
Did you hear about child care today? Because I do hear about people talking
all
about
the time, everywhere.
That's the thing. If you have some skilled people who would work, but it's just not financially viable for them to work with the child care expenses what they are.
And the expenses being what they are, the lack of resources, and with COVID, we basically destroyed 25-30% of all our health care. Our child care, and it has not really rebounded. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but most of them are financial. And
that's what it all comes down to. If you're a person in the home, it doesn't have to be a mother; it could be the father, and you could go make $50,000 a year, but if child care is going to cost you $30,000, and taxes are going to take $10,000. You really going to work 40 hours a week for $10,000? No, you're not.
No.
It just doesn't make financial sense, and work's about finances at the end of the day. Kelton runs an illegal gambling ring, and if he had to just go on his Mizzou picks lately, he'd be broke, right?
I wouldn't be broke, but
no. Let me just tell you, the last 2 games, I have called Mizzou to win, but not to cover. Kelton's a homer. He doesn't care how many points Mizzou's giving. He just takes Mizzou every time and gives the points. I actually, Kelton, can you recall the last 2 weeks? Am I 2-0? Is that the right math?
Yes, that would be right.
And what would make you? I can't. I'm not good with figures.
That would make me 0-2.
I think that's right. I thought it might make you 0-2.
Sounds like Ollie Marmol over here.
Oh man, we're gonna get to that, folks. We're gonna save the Cardinal thing to the end when we start talking, when we break into Kelton's illegal sports book. You were talking running for state senate. Big, I would say high heels. I don't know if Cindy wears high heels, but you're gonna have amazingly big shoes to fill in the great Northeast. Filling the shoes of Senator Cindy O'Loughlin.
Cindy has been a joy to work with, and everybody understands when Cindy says something, she means it. And you had better understand how to get along with her. And I've really appreciated what she's brought to the table for Northeast Missouri as far as ability to get things done and the ability to communicate expectations very clearly.
I gotta say, I didn't know her that good when she first got elected. I mean, she hadn't run for anything in the past. I had met her at different Republican-y type things, but I can't say that I knew her well. She runs for this office, wins the Senate seat. And with people, I knew Nate very well, knew Craig Regman very well. Some guys that I knew, frankly, better than her. She wins. You know, the first 2 years going to be the Conservative caucus. You're like, oh, here we go. Wine, complain, complain. And then she run for leadership, and I was one. I was like, oh, because Mike Bernskader is our senator here in Cole County, great guy. It's not anything against her. I just thought, well, Mike Bernskader would be good at that. He's tough. Says what he means what he says.
Good guy.
She wins, and I think everybody was like, because I always thought if Koenig drops out, she could win. She could have beat Mike Bernskader one-on-one. I think if Koenig doesn't drop out, she comes in third and doesn't make the second ballot, and Bernskader wins. But Koenig, I mean, obviously must have done the same math I did. He doesn't run. She runs against Bernskader, beats him. And I think everybody was kind of like, this is going to be weird, right? What's this about? I guess people didn't know what to expect. I think she's hit it out of the park. I find myself truly enjoying talking to her because you're right. She actually means the stuff she says, which is a rare feat this day and age. I have to say, I am extremely impressed by the job she did as floor leader. And I think she'll have a little easier hand of it as pro tem. I just think with Caleb and Bill gone, some of that bad blood should be gone. And I don't know, I just kind of like her.
Yeah, she's very easy to like. She's very easy to understand. And she puts things in little bite-sized pieces. Everybody can take her meaning. And when she communicates an expectation, you know she means what she says.
She's got to deal with Doug, not flat Doug, like we have it 3D Doug. Well, that's a long day for anyone. But so tell me about the seat. Obviously, has Shelbina, has Hannibal, Kirksville. How far over west does it go?
63.
63?
63 down to Audrain County and up to the Iowa line. So all the way to Mississippi, Rawls County.
Putting your team together right now?
Oh, yeah. Yep, got a strategy, got a plan.
There are some people that I think enjoy the House, and that's great. There are some people I think would love the Senate. I think you would love the Missouri State Senate. You get your chance. You get to do all of it. Every piece of policy runs through you that you want to run through you, right? You can step up and impact anything you want, any day, all the time if you want to. Now, most senators don't. They develop a policy portfolio and become an expert in something and they don't need to be heard multiple times a day. But you can if you want to. I think you love the policy aspect of being able to roll up your sleeves, and in the House you have to work harder to make a difference. In the Senate, you don't have to spend as much capital on everything, but people just know if you have an opinion on it, they better take it into account. I think you'd love it.
I think I would too, and honestly, I've really enjoyed being in the House. I've enjoyed really the committee process as much as anything. Yeah. The ability to learn, take that deeper dive, and I had that deal with both speakers. The interim committee was with Rob Vescovo, and Rob's basically like, just find out what there is to find out, come back, write us a good report, get us some recommendations. We did 6 recommendations, all or part of those 6 recommendations made it into law in 2022.
Wow.
And having that relationship with that speaker was a key to that. Dean basically same thing.
Well, if you need a ride, I mean, he
figure it
got
out.
the ride too.
Yeah, figure it out. And so here's the deal. If I'm not hearing bills, I want to hear from experts. Okay, fine, whatever you need. And basically write your own ticket. and I've really enjoyed being able to get into the policies of the thing. Enjoyed doing broadband as much as I've been able to.
And you're there at the right time. You were there with a governor that cares about workforce development, and you were there when the ARPA money and the broadband money was there to help. You actually, it wasn't just writing reports for one day when we get money. It's like, hey, there's money here to go do stuff with. So the Senate race, are you the only one? You're the only one I know of that's like actively saying I'm in and running.
So far, so good, but it'll probably be another 4-way primary, 3 or 4, and I won a 4-way primary. I wasn't supposed to win to get down here to begin with, so it's like, well, 4-way primary, been there, done that. It's like, well, and I do have a T-shirt, so.
I like that. I like to me, I think politics is one of those things that goes to the bold, in a primary. If you just say, hey, I hope you run, you'd be fine too. I'll gladly support you after it's over. I'll see you out there. I'm running. Mm-hmm. That person does better overall than the person trying to be overly strategic.
Well, and I campaign hard. I actually like knocking doors. There's probably something wrong with me, but I think it makes me smarter to talk to people who live this every day. It's like, what's on your mind? Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind. Good. If I'm not out there knocking those doors, I don't hear that. I
got to thank my buddy Kyle up in Knox County sending me this. One of my favorite steins I've ever gotten. This is Jesse James Stein, and it's an Anheuser-Busch one, but it curtails Jesse James. It's got a wanted poster. It is so interesting. Jesse James was actually killed on the order of the governor of Missouri. The governor of Missouri went to the train companies and put out a poster that says 5,000 dead or alive, and it was one of his friends that turned on him and shot him in the back. Mm-hmm. But that was Governor Crittenden. Governor Crittenden ordered the execution of Jesse James. We all want to talk about vigilantes. Oh, my God. Well, Governor Crittenden was a vigilante. No question about it. Also want to thank, I got a friend of mine, thank our sponsors, obviously, the United Fiber. And then if you were going to take somebody and have them stay here in Jeff City, what hotel would you take them in? If you wanted to impress them, you wanted to go first rate, where are you putting them up?
Oh, gee, there's a loaded question. I don't know. What's the newest?
I think you're right. The Courtyard by Marriott. I agree with the representative. And I want to thank the folks at the Glendale Police Department. I've always got some joy out of remarking that Senator Schmidt started his career in city government. He is one of the few people that has served at state, local, and federal level. But he was a city councilman in Glendale before he ran for state senate. This is a patch of the cops of Glendale. Thank you guys very much. I'm very grateful. I will find a way to display this. I don't know off the top of my head, but I did. The minute I got this, I wanted to thank you guys. This is a prized possession. Now, let me talk about something I've been working on. I got a tip. Gosh, Kelton, what was that? About May? We hear about that? No, it could have been May. It would have been the end of June.
Yep, the end of June.
That one of the department heads was at a DEI conference. And I'm like, there's no way. I mean, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state, the state treasurer, the 2 United States senators, the entire congressional delegation, the speaker, the pro tem, the floor leaders, your whole conference has said, we're not, Mizzou said, we're not doing DEI, right? Not exactly known for amazing conservatism. So we had some fun with it. I developed a clue board. You played Clue, right?
Yeah.
So Kelton and I, the state's now foremost DEI detectives, we knew the weapon was DEI, so we had the department head in the department, and as you can see, we slowly clicked off where everybody was on June 5th. Unfortunately, we did find that the Department of Insurance, the director was at a DEI conference, and I always want to say thank you to their staff. Their staff was very professional in providing us this information, but you know how it is. They probably knew this was not good for them, and they still did it faster than the statute required, which I appreciate people. It's easy to give information when you're proud of something, right? But when you really don't want anybody to know, and you know this person's going to make a big deal out of it, they were still very professional. But as you can see, DEI conference in Kansas City. Now, it's kind of funny because I've heard your whole caucus say, we are not doing DEI here. We're not paying for it. What would you say to an old boy? All let's say he's out working today in your district. He's out swinging a hammer, and it's getting close to quitting time. He's going to look at his pay stub on Friday, wipe the sweat off his brow, and do you think he's like, I'd sure like to work a little more today to pay more taxes to pay for DEI?
Probably not in my district.
Yeah, I don't think so neither.
Or your Butler County. Yes.
Probably not in Polk County either. I'm trying to find the county that elects a Republican that would think that. Hell, even the people in Flat Doug's district don't want that kind of Marxist bullshit. So anyhow, I was told reliably told, that, oh no, She was just introducing a one-legged person at this conference. It's not a big deal. Then I found her testimony. Maxine Waters, noted conservative, was having a hearing on DEI and how they can do more DEI, right? Because of course she's very left-wing, and that makes sense. Well, the Missouri Director of Insurance shows up, reads her title as working for you today, right? You and Kelton are paying for this. And says, "Oh, I've done so much DEI. We're trying to develop a formula so every state can do DEI like Missouri does it." But unfortunately for the director, the ranking member of this committee was Ann Wagner, somebody I know pretty well. So under sworn testimony, that's what she says she spends her days doing. That you're paying her. Well, I guess we're all having to pay her, but you've appropriated money to her to go work on DEI. Now, it's the damnedest thing. I know you wouldn't want to just say, "Scott, I believe you," but I guess I could pull out the testimony. I just don't understand it. So a group of senators have said, "Well, you got to go. If you really don't get it, what else are you doing?" How's it strike you?
Let's start with tone deaf.
Yes.
Maybe a little oppositional defiant.
Totally
And
defiant.
I would
Brazen
say
insubordination.
I've seen people talk their way out of jobs, and perhaps this is another one of those times. I think we're pretty clear cut on not wanting to, number one, fund it, 2, promote it, 3, implement it in a meaningful fashion.
Every
and
day
that's
that she's
a
in
problem.
this job, you're funding it. And she just doesn't care. It's just total brazen. Now, here's the interesting part, Kelton. I believe it's Monday morning at 7:30 on KWTO, keeping watch over the Ozarks. I'm going to break the news about how she travels all over the world. I mean, she travels. You ever seen like when Garfield would mail Odie to Abu Dhabi, he'd come back with all the stamps? That's what her passport is, this amazing thing. And the folks in your county work pretty hard. I'm surprised if they want to pay for her to be a jet setter. But I guess getting money. So I actually have found out how she affords this. And it's a state vendor that actually pays for it all. So Monday morning at 7:30, listen to KWTO. Alex Bryan and I are going to discuss the latest scandal in the Department of Insurance. This one, I wonder if Kelton, do me a favor. Do not tell Locke Thompson to listen to KWTO in Springfield Monday morning at 7:30, okay? The last thing we want.
I promise.
The last thing we want is for Locke Thompson to listen to KWTO at 7:30 Monday morning. Representative, I'm sure you're not thrilled that a department director just flips you the double bird and says, "I don't care what you think." But we don't want Locke Thompson listening to KWTO at 7:30 Sunday morning, do we?
No.
Locke, please, if you're listening, Missouri, do not tell Locke Thompson about the radio show of Alex Bryant's at 7:30 Sunday morning. That is not what we want, is Locke to hear about rampant corruption in the Department of Insurance. Speaking of some bizarre things, check this out. You ever seen one of them? Airhead.
Not yet.
It's a candy, like a taffy type thing. Little orange thing. They sell them at all gas stations. Look at this thing.
We heard testimony, his Department of Mental Health came in and told us about 8-year-olds showing up to school stoned off that.
My son's 8 years old.
Getting in their parents' gummy stash. Oh, looky candy. No, it's not candy. It's marijuana.
And you know what? You don't have to get in a stash. You could just be walking through the gas station.
Yeah.
An 8-year-old could literally
Put it up on the counter.
100% walk out and buy this, eat these, not have a clue, not be doing anything wrong. The day before they ate these, looked just the same. I was shocked when Jay decided the way he would get even with Tilly or whatever that was about was overselling drugs to kids. Now, I don't. The hemp people have a bunch of complaints about the distribution of marijuana and all that, and I'm not qualified to comment on it. But boy, if I was in the hemp industry, I would want that stopped. The first people that should be the most pissed are the folks in the hemp industry doing things the right way. This would be the death. I mean, to me, they are going to get hemp banned, period. I mean, if they can't self-regulate, you guys have to regulate this, right?
Absolutely. You know, I have a theory there's a special hot corner in hell for people who mistreat old people and kids.
What are you taking? Are you taking Mizzou and giving the points?
MIZ.
You know what, Kelton? I'm with you. I think they've had they had two cupcake games that probably don't mean anything. I think they were flat-footed, but I think they've had 2 weeks to prepare for A&M. I think they're a little pissed about getting slighted. What an amazing thing! Now we're seeing
board material.
Chad Perkins was in that chair
+5 or -5. My bad.
home
-5.
or at the Saints.
I'm not sure.
Well, Kelton, you're running the sports book. I mean, damn.
Let me check. I think they're
I think
there.
I could check faster than you could check. I mean, one of us is running the sports book here, Kelton. I thought it was you. Yeah, the Chiefs are. I think they're at home versus the Saints on Monday Night Football. I was going to go to that, but I'm taking Gussie to the WWF thing in St. Louis Monday night. Yeah, the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs go. I think at home they beat the Saints. I feel good about a Chiefs win. What do we got? Chiefs 5. I'm going Chiefs at home and covering the 5. What do you think, Representative?
Absolutely.
Kelton, are you going to be the homer? You're going to actually
I think they got it.
Kelton's never, not even for contrast. He always is a homer.
I would like to see 1 week where they just walk in and annihilate somebody, just for fun.
It's funny. The NFL, from the kickoffs, all these things have been kind of designed to make these one-possession games. And it's amazing how, the stats are so good. They can make, how many football games have you watched that weren't a one-possession game with 5 minutes left? All the Chiefs have been, but throughout the league. If I'm just skimming through, so many of these games are so close. And I think because you can score so quickly now, the ball comes out to the 30, and very proud of the fact this is the first time since 83 or something that the Royals are in the playoffs and the Cardinals aren't. And I'm like, that is the most Royals thing ever to put out.
2 words, instant replay.
That's also true.
1985.
You've got a new colleague coming.
Look it up.
Smart-ass Mark Morath from Clay County. He sent me these cups. Just salt in the wound. I think you're going to like surfing with him. He's got a good sense of humor, but he is a JV fan. I sent him over back. I'm like, that's the most Royals. No Cardinal fan ever charts their success by what the little JV team does. No one cares what the Royals do. On any part of society, no one cares, right?
No, and here's the other thing they do. So 2010 went over, watched a Cardinals game at Royal Stadium. So I, take the son of the family over and enjoy tailgating at a baseball game. And they ran that play every single inning. Every inning. It's like,
they're so proud of cheating.
What? Are you kidding me? You guys just lay off. So
I really thought John Ashcroft would go down as a great governor in Missouri history, but he did nothing about that 1026 terrorist attack. Just let it happen. Didn't do anything. It's almost like Schmidt being a United States Senator for now 3 years, and the Cardinals have sucked every year.
Well, you got to hand it, though, to the St. Louis baggage handlers. I've never heard this story or not, but apparently every time Dinkinger went through St. Louis, doesn't matter what flight he was on, airline, didn't care, somebody defaced his luggage. I take pride in that.
That's awesome. Here to the baggage handlers at Lambert International.
You got to have your priorities.
The Cardinals. What? All right, let's just talk about what everybody's wanting us to talk about. What the hell? There was a man I knew once. His name was Bill DeWitt, this junior. He actually said, in some cities, 500 would be good, something to be proud of. Not in this city, not for these fans. 500 doesn't cut it. We've got to do better. And he fired Mike Matheny. And he hired a man named Mike Schilt. Well, Ali Marmol blew his only playoff game. We had 2, but he lost the second one too. But remember the Quintana game against the Phillies? He had that game in hand. Blew it. Just blew the game. The next year they come in last. This year they're tied for 3rd with the Cubs. They extended the guy after coming in last. Now, this year, all the guys that sucked, they have a big press conference. It was the saddest day I've ever been a Cardinal fan. They had a press conference that said, we're going to change everything, except we're changing nothing. And we don't have to. We're changing nothing, everything.
Absolutely.
But we didn't do anything wrong. Everything's right. We're just going to change it for, I don't know why. And then we're going to keep all the people in charge while we change things. But we're really not changing anything that I could tell. I guess we're going to trade some players. this franchise has been in maybe ever. This might be the lowest point. Now, I've seen teams lose before, but I feel worse about them today than after they came in last. I thought after they came in last, they'd clean house.
Amen.
And I even thought, okay, there was an argument to say this team's not good. We're signing Kyle freaking Gibson here. I mean, we're not really trying to
Calling
win.
him Gibby. Come on.
Oh Jesus,
That's
not
sacrilege.
me. To me, at the end of the day, I think it breaks down that I said, okay, let him manage another year. They extended him. Who in the blue hell would have been wanting to hire Ollie Marmol if he didn't have a contract extension right now? Seriously, who? There is no club that says, you know what our club needs? This is what's going to put us on track.
White Sox could have used him.
I don't even know if they would have hired him. I mean, it is bizarre to me to think that there's a team out there saying, well, oh my God, Ollie Marmol is not under contract right now. We got to, let's clear their schedules.
press.
Let's fly him here. We got to have that guy. It is so and they bring in Heimblum, who I think has a chance. I mean, I think he's definitely has the pedigree that you give that
Smart
man
guy.
a chance. I think he was the one behind Kittredge that was a stellar signing. I saw some of those bullpen arms, and I'm like, oh, he's known for seeing things in guys that other people don't see. I think that Chaim Bloom definitely deserves the chance, but they're not giving him the chance. They're saying, you go to the minors for a year, we're going to trade stars. Who trusts John Mozeliak to trade for players? I mean, seriously.
Not me.
What track record in the last 10 years? I've seen him. Look, I thought the Arenado thing was good, but I mean, that was a cash dump from Colorado.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good trade. I was excited about it. I'm not going to act like he hasn't done good things. I'm just saying, I just don't see why you would want him in charge. He reminds me of a guy. I've seen this in politics and business. Talented dude. Successful. I don't like when people talk about Mozeliak and don't give him some props. He did have a good run, but it's over. He's hiring yes men. He's very defensive to criticism.
Yeah.
All the marks of a failing executive who's just out of steam. He was out of steam 3-4 years ago. He was out of steam when he fired Schilt. When you can't when Schilt was pushing, which is his job, and you can't handle it and you fire him, either that was bullshit, and I think hiring a guy with even less pedigree that is Ollie Marmol has no accomplishments to put you back on anything. Whatever they say, he's just got to take. I mean, he has no other options. Literally, no one would hire him. So I guess instead of having a transitional year in 24 to transition to better times, we decided to push it not even to 25. We're going to forfeit 25. Can you imagine how thrilled the Brewers and Cubs had to be watching that?
Oh, that was Christmas came early for them. I go back to the late 70s. I went to the Cardinals games to watch Lou Brock. Okay, my guy, Lou Brock. Nobody at the ballpark except the Bush vendors, and even they shut up when Lou Brock was on base, which is kind of cool. But Gussie Bush saw those empty seats and got so furious about it. He's like, called Whitey Herzog, said, "Whitey, get over here. You know, I got you a checkbook. I got you a team. Just do whatever you need to do. Bring me a winner. I want to go back to the World Series before I die." 3 times he went back to the World Series. Why? Because Whitey came in and said, you out. Ted Simmons, Ted, I want you to do such and such. Ted's like, I'm not sure. Well, sorry about that, Ted. Move on. And when Simmons left, we're like, uh-oh, this guy really means it. Templeton was going out the door. Then say, oh, gee, I need a shortstop. Who am I going to get? Ozzie Smith. And they had a little war of words in the paper. It was like, well, I don't want to pay a lifetime of 200 hitter. Well, it made Ozzie a much better ball player because he got right up in his grill, and that was that. And gee, what do we enjoy? Hit and run, smart baseball, defense up the middle, speed, track meets, switch hitters, everything Whitey Herzog could possibly do to win baseball games, he did. And Gussie said, you go. All right, completely different analysis. Well, this is what we do for a living. We need this money, blah, 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 blah. Salary dump here. So
Arrogance.
Awful. It's like they don't want to win. It's they want to make money and keep people somewhat happy so they'll come to the ballpark. But nobody's enthusiastic about it.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even think they gave a damn about keeping people happy. I mean, that press conference was basically like, screw off. It's our team. We don't care if you come or not. We're going to keep the same losers losing and piss off. Don't come to the game. I don't know what other thing you could say about that. It was so arrogant. And I am the biggest Bill DeWitt Jr. fan, but I'll tell you, I think it's time to turn it over to the third. I think the third has some fire in him. Yeah. I think the third would have fired Mozeliak 3 years ago, if you want the truth, and I'm not trying to talk out of school. I just think that when I saw Bill DeWitt, I saw a guy that to me looked a little angry at the fans for not understanding. Like, it's like, why don't you understand how great this is? I'm like, it's not great, it sucks. And so, I don't know, I'm as pessimistic about being a Cardinal fan as I've ever been in my life right now.
And being a Cardinal fan is a life sentence, and I've been doing this now for the better part of 55 years. I feel better physically when the Cardinals win. Just saying.
I have a problem. Like, it is an obsession. Casey tells me you've got to calm down. She was yesterday, like Kellen can attest, I was really just waiting for that press conference, hoping what I was reading wasn't true, but it was all true. They forfeited 25 and 26. They forfeited 24 when they extended Barnwell.
Absolutely.
When you embrace failure,
yep.
And not only embrace it, reward it. What message are you sending? You're sending failure's cool. So guess what they got this year? Some sweet failure. Serve it up hot. And now you're bringing back the same crew of losers? Ben Hockman wrote a great column. Shout out to him. What are the Cardinals selling their fans? And he gives some quotes in this bizarre press conference where it was like, well, you know, we're probably not going to be folks on the major league roster, but we're really excited about the players. You just said you're not going to field a competitive team. Then you tell me you're. So what are you saying?
And you traded away so many good players who were doing great guns everywhere else except, fresh air. What do you know? And it's not the Steve Carlton thing. This is systemic. It's everywhere.
We think we need to change things, but not because we did anything wrong, and the guy that screwed it all up, we're going to keep him in charge, and then we're going to hire this new guy, but he's not going to be in charge. It was the most mixed messages. It was the worst messaging I've ever. It was like the Missouri Democratic Party was somehow messaging for the St. Louis Cardinals. There was no direct, clear-cut, this is what we're doing. It was, well, I think we have a chance to win if we, we're excited about our team, a young core. We're going to trade off guys and lower the payroll. I'm like, no, you'd be honest. Just say, hey, the one thing Mozeliak did do that I respected in that whole press conference, and he's just gotten so arrogant, it's just nails on a chalkboard to listen to him. But he did stop the press conference and say, no, we're going to lower payroll. Tell me the plan. And if the plan is, okay, Mozeliak, who has ran the franchise in the ditch, who also, to be fair, drove us to the promised land. I don't think it's fair to. Well, he's got 11. I mean, I thought 13. He has helped put together some good teams. I do think, in hindsight, when Lunau left, a lot of the magic left.
There was your brain.
Jeff Lunau, if you're listening, please come back to St. Louis. I don't mind cheating. My only beef with McGuire is he didn't share the drugs. I would definitely be fine if we cheated to win. Please come back to St. Louis. We need you. I would definitely rather cheat and win than lose, honestly. But I think Lunau deserves a lot of credit. This scoreboard shows when he left, things started to go downhill.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually, if they'd have came out in that press conference and says, look, here's the thing. We're trading Gray, trading Contreras, we're trading Helsley. If somebody could take Arenado, we're going to trade him. If anybody will take Miles Michaels' salary or Matt's, we'll drive him to your ballpark. And next year's going to be tough, but we're going to have Mason Wynn, Walker. We're going to go through our
Victor
Donovan.
Scott.
Here's where we're going.
Put the kids in.
We're going to try to trade for some young guys. Some of them will be ready even next year. We got the minor league pitcher of the year, but no. Here's the deal. We're going to turn the franchise over to Chaim Bloom. We're going to thank you, John Mozeliak, for 2011. We're going to thank you for your service. You will be a Cardinal Hall of Famer one day, and you'll deserve it. Thank you for everything. He's going to be the senior advisor to the president. Whatever they got that poor idiot Gersh doing now, wow. The only person that took a fall for all this was the guy that nobody thinks ever made a decision the whole time he's been there. Poor Gersh was the least GM of any GM ever. Everybody knew he had nothing to do. Now he's the director of special projects. My God. What closet does he stick his office in? I think if they'd have come out and said, this is our plan, Heimblum has a track record, he's going to have 2 years to get back to competitiveness. We're planning to 27. Please stick with us. It's not going to be awful. There's going to and we look. Let's look at this lineup. Do we think Michael McGreevy's worse than Miles Michaels? I don't.
No.
Do Andre Palante was their best starter anyway. He was there. I would say Gray's the ace, to be fair, but Palante was their number 2. Does anybody think Steven Matz could stay healthy for a month anyhow? I mean, go down and who's the other? They got another guy, Gordon Graceffo. Is he worse than Kyle Gibson? I mean, maybe, but slightly. Got a chance to be better.
It's going to cost you as much to find out.
And then look at the infield. I mean, if you have Brendan Donovan say, here, you're the third baseman now. Is that worse than Arenado? If you just tell Alec Burleson you're the first baseman, is that worse than Goldschmidt? I would say no to both. They're actually improved. Now, you have some outfield issues, but I mean, I guess I just don't see where the team. Now, trading Gray, Contreras, and Helsley will hurt. But letting these other guys walk, I'm sorry, I just don't see your random replacement player that much worse than the guys you have on the field now.
Yeah. And when you have players basically articulating what the fans are saying, it's
Contreras came out.
It's not just us; they see it too, and that's what bothers me the most.
Well, I mean, look, I think you should trade Helsley. I think even if we were trying to compete next year, if you get a premium package of prospects for an elite closer, I think that's a good trade-off. I think that history has shown closers only have a short run. There's very few Mariano Rivera's, right? There's a lot more there's a lot more fly-by-nights than Billy Wagner's. So Helsley's arm, his history, I think you trade him regardless. I think you've got other guys that could step up. I would have traded Helsley even if I was competing in 25. Sonny Gray, it's tough because you're kind of saying if you're saying this is a rebuild year and 26 we're going to try to start coming back up, he could be here for that and 27, and so could Contreras. Now, I think Contreras could bring in a haul too, though. I think Gray will bring in a good chunk. I think Arenado's going to be a giveaway. Just have to give him away.
Not getting any younger.
And I don't think nobody's going to take Miles Michaels' salary. They might take $2 million of it. So I'm not as pessimistic about what 25 could be, except they just got up there and said, we're bringing back this loser manager who's never won anything. We're letting Mozeliak make the decision on who we bring back in these trades. It was a terrible idea. It was truly, the word of the day is change. We're just not changing anything. One guy retired. That's the full scope of the rebuild is one dude retired. I've never been this pessimistic about being a Cardinal fan in my life.
Second the motion.
Well, Representative, thank you so much for coming by. I sure appreciate it. Hope you'll you can have another meeting before session?
October 8th, 15th, 22nd, 29th.
In Jeff City, where that?
November 7th, House Hearing Room 7, unless they move us.
Next time, maybe a couple weeks,